Hi, today I'm going to tell you about two tenses, two future perfect tenses, the variant of future perfect simple and another future perfect continuous. So in general, these are pretty rare tenses because at this level, probably you could hear about them or you could not. These tenses you usually learn when you are pretty advanced in learning English, for example, at the level of B2 or even C1. And because they are so rare and we don't use them too often, each one of them describes only one situation in which we can use them. So let's start. Let's start with the future perfect simple. This is a very good tense if you want to report or plan something, because this tense you use only when you want to say that by some period of time, by a moment of time, in the future, something will be done. For example, by 2025, I will have passed my driving test. The sentence means that 2025, I will have my driving license in my hand. Okay? As you can see from my example, you form this tense in a bit complex way because you have three elements in your verb phrase. First of all, this is the will, which indicates the future. This is the word that tells you, hey, I'm going to talk about future events. Then you have another element, which is have, because we are forming a perfect tense. So this have has to be here. And please remember that this time our special person, so he, she, it, doesn't have this special form. So we don't say will has been, but will have been, because will always require the basic form. So will have, and the third element, which is your verb in the third person or regular verb with ed or d ending. So to make an affirmative sentence, you need these three elements for your verb phrase. The first is the person, and after the verb phrase, you have the rest of the sentence. There can be also some specific words, like for example, by or until. So the words that tells you that until this moment, something will have happened. So something, some processes or some activities will be finished. To form a question, it is the same like in the case of any other future tense, because you just take the will, you leave the rest of the verb phrase, you put the will at the first part of your sentence, and this is how you make a question. For example, will I have passed my driving test by 2025? The same situation is with the negative sentence. Again, you need this negative auxiliary verb, and it of course depends on you if you want to use this longer form, so will not. But again, please remember that this time this verb phrase is really, really long, like will not have passed. Well, a lot of elements. Of course, you can use the shorter form, which is won't have passed. You have only three elements, which is shorter, which is a shorter thing. For example, I won't have passed my driving test by 2025. Please remember that this tense is very good to use when you want to report something. And if you are advanced in English and you use your English for work, you have to write different kinds of reports, summaries, where you need to plan something. This is the tense that you will probably need to use in these documents. I also need to tell you about short answers. The short answers are standard and they don't differ from any other future tense. So, yes, I will, no, I won't. Yes, she will, no, she won't. Yes, we will, no, we won't. Another tense I'm going to tell you about in this movie is the variant of future perfect simple, the future perfect continuous. And as you can expect, this tense is used also in only one situation, And this is the situation when you tell that, for example, at some point in the future, a bit of time will pass since something has been done. For example, tomorrow we will have been meeting for 5 years. So that means tomorrow it will be 5 years that we are meeting, that we have spent together. As you can hear from my example, to form an affirmative sentence, which is the pattern, of course, is the same for every person, every subject in our sentence, looks like this: will, have been, and another thing, so the verb with ing ending. So as you can see in this tense, there are 4 elements to be included in your verb phrase. The first is the person, the verb phrase, and the sentence. To make a question, you use the same pattern. So you take the will to the first part of your sentence, and this is how you form a question. And to make a negative sentence, you just use the will not or won't form. But as always, I encourage you to use the shorter form if you don't need to be very, very formal, because it is just shorter and you don't have to remember about so many elements that you have to include in your verb phrase. When it comes to short answers, the situation is the same. So it's the same as in the case of every future tense. So yes, I will, no, I won't. Yes, she will, no, she won't. Yes, we will, no, we won't.